Today's moving day. While we absolutely loved our time in Tillamook proper, by the end of it, we were itching for some time in solitude out amongst the trees. Moving days can be a bit stressful, just because there's a lot to do. Packing everything away, making sure everything is buttoned up, tidied up. We're not going to have any accidents while getting from point A to point B. But there's also just a general sense of unease maybe, of saying goodbye to one place and heading towards another. I really think it's just human nature to resist change. Thankfully though, today is pretty easy because where we're headed today is a place we've been to before and we loved it so much that we decided to return. It's wild how quickly little places like this can begin to feel homey. Once I settled in and made camp, so to speak, we like to spend the rest of the day letting crews run around, exploring our new home, and meal prepping for the rest of the week.
Please don't judge me. I'm not in any way a food blogger or vlogger. I'm just a person that likes to make good meals for my family. This is one of our favorites. It's just like a easy chicken pasta, and you can switch things up however you like. So, starts with chicken. We've diced it up into like bite-sizey bits, and then we put olive oil, salt, pepper, onion powder, Italian seasoning. You season these things with your heart. Minced garlic. We like lots of garlic. I also put fresh garlic in. So what else are we feeling? Some paprika and red pepper flakes. Sometimes overdo the pepper flakes, so I try to start light and then add in, and then you just shake her up. This is what it will look like as it's cooking up. When it looks like this, I'm going to take this out of here, and then I'm going to add in the chopped peppers and onions. Now that these peppers and onions are a bit soft, I toss in the tomatoes. Now that it's looking like this, I go ahead and pop my chicken back in. Here we've added our chicken broth and our heavy cream and a bit of cream cheese, and the sauce will thicken up like this. If you put too much of a certain thing in and it gets too liquid, then you could always put in a bit of cornstarch, and that'll help your sauce thicken up. I told you I was not a food blogger. I forgot the dang tomato paste. Put a tablespoon of this in there. I'm gonna add it to mine now. Lord. Thankfully this meal is very forgiving, so I'm just taking the tomato paste and blending it in. Everything's fine. It's like it never even happened. Look at that. You take that. And now it's done.
Good morning.
Good morning, baby.
It's pretty outside today.
Yeah, it is.
in grad school, I had like a hella coffee addiction. I was drinking like 2 to 3 giant French presses a day, which like clearly is not good for you. And so I guess about a year and a half ago, I switched to mushroom coffee, and I've loved it. I've tried a few brands that I didn't love, I will say that, but there's this brand out of Texas that is really good, and so it's pretty easy. I mean, like very easy. You heat up water, mix in a scoop of mushroom stuff, and then we use a packet of hot chocolate in it, cinnamon. If you want, you can also put a bit of cayenne in here. I love that, especially in the winter when it's like cold out. And then you just blend her up. Ben adds like heavy cream to his sometimes, or milk, or what's that, Chobani?
Extra creamy.
Extra creamy oat milk. He likes that in here. A few years ago, I actually designed and created these gratitude journals because I wanted something really simple to be able to like track my feelings and my goals and my thoughts and what I'm excited about. We try to do it as often as we can. Sometimes I do it on my computer in like a Notion thing, but I feel like writing it out, like something about the practice of it, is really good for me. On Mondays, I like to pull 2 or 3 Woodland Warden's Oracle cards. These cards are really good for me because it's like an animal and a plant, and they have like journaling questions. As time allows, I like to just sort of reflect on them. Let's both choose 2. The goat is a symbol of balance, jumping with ceaseless energy, perching easily on even the narrowest footholds. The willow is a symbol of mourning, often appearing on gravestones. In Greek mythology, willows are said to mark the entrance to the underworld. That's weird. They're my favorite tree. When combined, the goat and willow show us that there may be losses to suffer, but we can overcome them with renewed energy and the right balance. Pulled in reverse. You may be feeling off kilter. The negative energy in your life may threaten to overcome you. Let the spirit of the goat lead you to a sense of harmony. Remember that life is a balance. We cannot appreciate pleasure without experiencing pain. And the question is, how can I achieve balance in my life? And how can I plan ahead to navigate the obstacles in my path? Oh, that seems relevant.
I pulled the turtle and the coriander, which is satisfaction. I'm not sure if I pulled it upside down or not. I think I just pulled it.
You did. No, it's normal.
Right side up. The turtle and the coriander calls us to be satisfied with what we have been given or what we have achieved. It invites a moment of rest and reflection. Perhaps due to Aesop's fable, The Tortoise and the Hare, turtles are symbols of patience and good health. In this folktale, the slow but determined tortoise wins its race against the speedy but distracted rabbit. The turtle triumphs by pacing himself, illustrating the adage, slow and steady wins the race. Similarly, in the Victorian language of flowers, coriander indicates concealed worth, reminding us that things may not always be as they appear. In other words, a dedicated tortoise who puts in the work can achieve just as much as, if not more than, the swiftest rabbit. I pulled it upright, and so the upright meaning they impart this wisdom. Slow down and enjoy the journey. Avoid rushing towards your goals for the sake of winning. Arrive in your own time.
That's a really funny pull right after mine.
Yeah.
how can I find balance and then don't rush toward your goals? What's something that stuck out in that for you?
I think I'm pulling the meaning of just being where you are and investing in that fully.
Ben and I are on this path of building our own businesses, and we've owned multiple businesses over the years, but I feel like we're in such a time of transition because, you know, the glamping stuff didn't work out, and that was heartbreaking in so many ways. And now we're investing in ourselves and investing in what we want our future to really look like, trying to be really strategic with it all. And part of that is why you're here right now, growing this channel and going all in on our goals is something we're working really hard on right now. But it means that there's not a lot of balance. We're doing our best to make time for like joy and play and things like that. But honestly, a lot of our time is spent
Working.
Life on the road is its own sort of part-time job, you know.
Yeah. When you decide to go on the road, there are things that you give up that are taken for granted in terms of utilities, modern conveniences, water, electricity, places to dump your waste, things like that. So,
Even finding great places to stay, coordinating, well, when are we gonna go there? And
yeah, and when you're balancing a bunch of different types of employment, even travel days themselves are something that need to be strategically planned so that you can balance that with all the other responsibilities you have.
this card of like, how can I achieve balance is very poignant, I feel, for and where we are. Chore day, y'all. Come along.
So normally how it works for us is that I manage the standard chores while Ben is doing his steady job at Inbox Done. On today's agenda is trash, water, laundry, and groceries. Let's do it. I'm a big podcast audiobook girly, and I'm currently listening to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I could not recommend it more. It is a truly fascinating story. If you have any true crime, history, really just any sort of engaging story, I would love your recommendations, because as you can imagine, I spend a lot of time in the car behind the wheel. This is one of my favorite ways to spend a few hours in the car.
First up, trash. The laundromat is a popping place today. It is a wonder that I found a few machines to put my clothes in, because it feels like everyone in this town is here. And I thought midday Tuesday would be a good time to do this. Apparently not. You're looking for a small business to start? I feel like a coin laundry place is ideal, because holy hell, are there people that need to do their laundry.
Grocery shopping is by far one of my least favorite adulting tasks, and I think it's even harder because we never go to the same grocery store more than twice, and so you never know where anything is, and it just, don't love it. But got my list, let's get it out.
Now we need to fill our tanks up. We are currently at a local state park, and we have this massive bladder here. So this bladder is 65 gallons, which is the same as our tank in the bus. And what's handy about this is that whenever it's not full, it's flat and doesn't take up any space. And when it is full, it has the same amount of water as the bus. So It's incredible because we can just use the car to fill up as opposed to having to bring the bus all the way out and fill it up and then drive all the way back.
While at the laundromat today, I started talking with the lady next to me, and it turns out that she and her partner and little girl are traveling around the US in their truck camper. So we got to chit-chatting, and then all of a sudden she got a call, and her partner was letting her know that there was an issue with the truck, that he wasn't going to be able to come get her at the laundromat. So she asked if I would give her a ride back, and of course I said yes. Over the course of our conversation, I told her where we were sort of staying and camping, and she said, well, I've got a bunch of errands to do, so I don't know, and I'm not really sure what our plans are for the night, but we'll see what happens. Think much about it, and I'm doing what needs to be done. We get back, I'm working on a video, Ben's getting some work done, and all of a sudden, a truck pulls up at our campsite. Now, this may not seem like a big deal, but we're like in the middle of the forest. No coordinates were shared, and they found us. We ended up having the best night with these guys. We swapped stories, shared tips and tricks, and then at the end of the day, we were blessed with an incredible night of stars. The next morning, we said goodbye to our new friends and enjoyed a perfect rainy day in the woods. I know a lot of people who live nomadically that don't enjoy a rainy day, but that is not the case for us. We love any excuse to retreat into our home, cozy up, and spend the day reading a good book. Later that day, once the rain had passed, we decided to go check out the Tillamook Forest Center. Centers like this are invaluable to travelers and locals alike.
This is incredible. So the Douglas fir is the official state tree of Oregon, and they have the largest Douglas fir in Oregon that is 327 feet tall, which for reference is 24 feet taller than the Statue of Liberty. That's hard to fathom.
So back in 1933, almost 240,000 acres were burned.
At its peak, a forest fire can consume 200 acres a minute and create hurricane-force winds. It is a force that seems nearly impossible to control. Fire and the people who fight it have been a part of the story of the Tillamook Forest for decades.
Any of these big fires have a roar like an earthquake. You can hear it for miles.
Ash from the fire fell on the decks of ships 500 miles out to sea and darkened the skies as far away as Portland and Tillamook, turning day to night.
People were driving with their cars with their lights on. Farmers were noticing that their chickens went to roost because they thought it was dark already. That's how huge that column of smoke was that came over the city of Tillamook.
Ben and I experienced our very first forest fire while here in Oregon, and it is truly terrifying. We have such an appreciation now for the power and the trauma that fires can cause. So take it from our good friend Smokey. Only you can prevent forest fires. Be careful out there.
Well, behind me, we have an actual lookout tower they used to use in the state forests around here. During the summer, they would send folks up to live in these towers, and their only job was to look for smoke signals that they would then call someone and be like, hey, there's a fire out there, we got to take care of it. It's super cool that you were able to actually walk up in this thing and see how those folks used to live. Let's go. All right, final flight, almost there. Made it.
We love learning about the areas that we travel to, and places like this are a wealth of information. We found that learning about the history of the places we get to call home for a time helps us appreciate them all the more. Now that we had learned all about the forest, it was time to head to the coast.
So at Oceanside Beach, they have this little tunnel here that lets you access a different part of the beach on the other side of this wall of cliffs.
And walking through it makes you feel like you're stepping into another realm.
You guys,
It's pretty magical.
it's so magical. Oh God, it's so magical. It hurts. And if you come to Tillamook and you do not come to Oceanside,
I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out. This is great.
I don't think we can be friends anymore. It's just like, it's too good.
Yeah.
Look at it.
What's not to love?
All of these places I've been, they don't feel like forever. But each step I'm taking, it seems like I'm finding myself. Whoa, 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 whoa. I've searched for gold and I've uncovered all kinds of treasure. But I'd take it all and I'd give it to somebody else.
I don't know much about what our futures will look like. The opportunities and possibilities really are endless. But I do know that when I'm an old lady with long dresses and gray hair, I want part of my morning routine to be walking on the beach in the morning. There's something about being next to the ocean that just makes me feel so peaceful. And this whole day that we spent at the beach just made me so incredibly grateful for this life that we are building and experiencing. And truly there are days where it's like, ugh, is this worth it? But this day proved it really is. If you've made it this far, then you should definitely go ahead and like and subscribe, because we've got more videos like this headed your way every week. Thanks for being here, friends.